host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and I'm sick. And my husband is sick. I seem to be better off than he is, but something's happening in there. So I hope all of you are well and are able to avoid some of these terrible, terrible illnesses that are going around right now. But what I did want to talk about today is St. Patrick's Day. My St. Patrick's Day is very different than it used to be when I was drinking. So I wanted to talk about how I used to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and what I'm doing today, and maybe some other ways that we can celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So, in the beginning, I guess early on when I was drinking, I had like any excuse to drink, right? And St. Patrick's Day was a huge one. I had a friend of mine that St. Patrick's Day became our favorite holiday, or at least it was my favorite holiday. I think hers was Halloween. But we decided one year that we were going to go to DC 101, Kegs and Eggs in DC. So we took the metro and I don't know, got over there in line at maybe 6 a.m. It might have been earlier than that. I'm not quite sure when Kegs and Eggs starts anymore. But yeah, we got in line and it was freezing cold and we waited to get in and we drank for whatever, maybe it was like 4 hours long or 5 hours long, something like that. And it's just like what it sounds like. There are kegs and there were eggs. So I just remember it being completely like shoulder to shoulder people, just ridiculousness happening. And I remember the following year we went again, and we brought more people. So the first year it was just me and her. And somehow we made it back to the metro station, but of course we couldn't drive home from the metro station. So her husband came and picked us up, but not before we just made really poor decisions, very poor decisions. The following year, when we brought other people there, there was even more nonsense because there was more of us to just get disgustingly drunk. So we had folks that were throwing up in the place where the Kegs and Eggs was. There was like indoor like gardens, I guess. And I just remember, I barely remember, but there was like a tree. And I just remember my friend turning around and throwing up in the garden inside. I remember somebody throwing up in the metro. Actually, this person threw up. This is disgusting. So I apologize for anybody who is not an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic where this may be offensive. But this friend that I was with who is not an alcoholic, she threw up. Are you ready? She threw up in her mouth, held it in her mouth, waited until the metro came to a stop, got out of the metro, and spit it out in the train track on the other side of the platform. Yeah, she's a brave woman or stupid. I don't know. What else did we have? We had a bit of urination in the metro parking lot. We had one individual who threw her shoe and accidentally it landed very close to a homeless individual. I don't believe she hit him with it, but had to go over there and pick up that shoe. Just nonsense, just lots of nonsense. And it's a blur. And so we did that 2 years in a row. And then after that, we decided, why are we going all the way to DC? Why don't we just have our own kegs and eggs? So that's what we started to do. We just invited people over and we had our own kegs and eggs that started whenever we were ready. Usually, I think like 9 a.m. I probably would have started sooner, but I think the others weren't ready until 9. And then we like cooked food and drank and this way we didn't have to leave at noon. We could drink all day into the night, and that is exactly what we did. Typically, when I was hanging out with people, I was the first one drinking and the last one drinking. That was what it was like since I started drinking. And it was like that through till I was 42. It was always like that for me. So, St. Patrick's Day just was an excuse for me to just escape my life entirely and not worry about anything. Not only not worry about my life or my responsibilities, because remember, I had children at this time, and it was like mom's day out. I mean, that's terrible, but I never did see my kids on those days. I would always spend the night wherever I was. But I do remember feeling very hungover the next day and being around my kids, which is unfortunate. There's nothing I can do about that now. One of the topics in the meeting this morning was about not regretting the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And I shared how um, I have gotten to the point where I can see clearly that what has happened in my past had to happen for me to be where I am today. So, so I don't regret it, and I try not to turn my back on it because it's necessary for me to look back on those times. I think back on St. Patrick's Day, and there is a part of me um, that misses being able to step away from my life like that. But when in the same breath, I can understand that that was not, it was not. So I'm saying, so what I said was, I miss being able to do that. Well, the thing is, I shouldn't have been doing that. Walking away from my life for the day, that's not okay, and I don't do that anymore. So reflecting back on all of those celebrations is really reflecting back on a very difficult time in my life where I was obsessed with everything but my responsibilities. And today, it's necessary for me to redefine how I have fun now. So first of all, looking at holidays and separating alcohol from them takes experience. For me, it takes doing the first, like the first St. Patrick's Day that I didn't drink. My first Christmas that I didn't drink, the first wedding that I didn't drink, drinking did not make the holidays better. Drinking again was me stepping away. It was just me, my body might have been there, but I was able to be in my own little world if I was drinking. So it didn't make the holidays better. It just numbed the holidays a little bit. So today I look for connection with people instead of what alcohol was doing, which was separation from me and whoever was present at holiday gatherings. So, honestly, I don't really celebrate St. Patrick's Day anymore. I heard something on the news last night about celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and um, there was, I think it was the Irish Prime Minister, is that right? I don't know. Was on the show, and the person was like, um, you know, seeing that tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, like, what do you think about Americans celebrating St. Patrick's Day? And I'm like, I don't, my husband and I were sitting there and we were like, I don't know that we're celebrating Irish people at all when we're getting completely tanked like that. So today, when I think of how I might celebrate St. Patrick's Day, it would be more like, doing fun things like making shepherd's pie or Irish coffees or shamrock um, ice cream shakes or something like that. There's a deeper meaning to St. Patrick's Day. I actually was looking up like what is the history of St. Patrick's Day, and I mean this I got off of uh, Chat GPT. So Chatty McChatterton told me, and we know that that is could be completely false, but we're going to go with it. So the holiday began as a religious feast honoring St. Patrick, which was the patron saint of Ireland, who was credited with spreading Christianity across the country. He was not Irish. He was born in Britain and kidnapped by Irish raiders before later returning as a missionary. The original celebrations focused on faith, family, and gratitude. So, what was I doing? I was just drinking to the point of oblivion. That's how I was celebrating this Saint Patrick. So talk about inappropriate. Um, so the other things like Irish folk music tells stories of the history, the struggle, and resilience. And then, of course, there's Irish artists and music. There's Irish step dancing and all of that stuff. Like that is celebrating St. Patrick's Day as I look at it now. Also, Irish literature. Like I haven't explored any of that stuff, but I feel like that is where St. Patrick's Day should be focused on. So I was looking up creative projects that I could do that might celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and honestly, like nothing stuck out to me. Irish meals or like painting and knitting and crafting. Chatty told me like Irish inspired designs, Celtic patterns, and listening to Irish instrumental music and writing or journaling about it. I mean, honestly, I'm just being honest. That doesn't sound fun to me. So, I don't know. I've kind of strayed a little bit away from celebrating St. Patrick's Day. And it's probably because I have such heavy memories about it that today I just treat it like every other day. But I did think it was important to just quickly talk about like for people who are in recovery and they need to handle social situations because they still show up to St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Like, what do you do when you're offered a drink? And for me, what I would say is, or what I started saying was that I I always said I don't drink anymore. I enjoyed drinking too much. And I think the reason why I said that was because I was always afraid that somebody was gonna think I wasn't cool if I didn't drink, like I wasn't fun anymore. So I wanted them to know, like, I used to be totally fun, but now I can't, you know? And I don't know that I need to make that excuse, but that was one way that I, in early sobriety, used to respond. Also, it's important to understand your triggers. I did hear somebody sharing today about being sitting at a table with a bunch of people that were drinking and being able to like smell the beer and smell the wine and smell the alcohol. Like that is a trigger. It was for me in early sobriety. Today, it's not so much a trigger for me. I don't mind it. I definitely prefer not to be in the presence of white wine where I can smell it because I'm afraid it's going to trigger me. So I just kind of try to stay away. If I see somebody drinking white wine, I will sit at least two chairs away from them so that I don't smell it. And then also always having an exit plan. This person that was sitting at the table drinking with, or that she was sitting at the table and everybody else was drinking. She decided that she was just getting a little squirrely. So she stood up and went somewhere else. You know, there were people in other areas of the house that were having fun. She did not need to be in that area to continue socializing. So, trying to surround yourself with people who respect your sobriety is important. I know that that's not always possible, but it takes some forethought to ensure that you're not going to get in a situation where you're stuck. Celebrations do not have to include alcohol. I know that if I were to say that to some of my old drinking friends, they would think that I was crazy. But in my life now, it not only does it not have to be, but it can't be. Um, every day that I stay sober is another opportunity to really enjoy life in a way that I never did before. A way to like feel fulfilled and learn, like educate myself about different holidays, you know, and dive into like the power of tradition and feeling like I have the freedom to create new traditions. So, yeah, so I encourage you to enjoy the day, enjoy St. Patrick's Day in whatever way that you do. But I thought that I should share some of my stories about my my drinking days on St. Patrick's Day because it was a lot. We had t-shirts made. My friend and I made t-shirts and it was crazy. It was crazy. I know I didn't get into too much detail, but the reason why is because I don't remember a lot of it. That's why there's not a lot of detail. But you know, it was fun back then, but that time in my life is past. It's over. And I look at it not as being sad that it's gone, but I'm grateful that I'm here, that I was able to live through going to that extreme and being able to return back to living a sober, fulfilling life. So, thank you for listening. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.